Hi, it's Naomi Andrigg again, and a student asked about how to solve this particular equation. It's one that's in the learning problem set for my students. And it's an interesting equation to me because it involves not just simplifying, or not just solving the equation, a simple equation, but also simplifying this left-hand expression, which requires the use of the distributive property, and not just the distributive property, using the distributive property with negative numbers and also with just a minus or a negative sign. So I wanted to go over this for those reasons, and I've rewritten the problem over here in just a Word document so that you can see it. And note that I kind of highlight some critical pieces of this equation so you can see them as different. And I do keep this negative with the 2. I consider that to be a negative 2. So very first step before I can do anything as far as combining like terms over on the left and getting that simplified and made into an equation that's a little easier to solve, I'm going to have to use the distributive property. There's understood to be multiplication here between the negative 2 and the x minus 4, and it's not just negative 2 times, or sorry, t. It's not just negative 2 times t, it's negative 2 times t minus 4. I have to multiply the negative 2 times both of those terms. So let me just copy this down and we'll change it around. Right there. So again, I'm going to multiply the negative 2 times the t. That gives me negative 2t, but I also need to multiply the negative 2 times that 4 in the parentheses so that I have minus a negative 2 times 4. Let me change that color. Okay, so, and then over here, I need to do minus t, but I also need to do minus 8, or negative 8, when I get rid of the parentheses. I can simplify that further. Let's see. When I have minus a negative, I know that turns into a positive. So I'm going to have plus 2 times 4, and 2 times 4, I know what that is, it's 8. I'll make that 8. Plus a negative, I can turn that into minus, and so now I have negative 2t plus 8 minus t minus 8 equals 5. From there I can combine my like terms. So my t terms are like, and my number terms are like. My t terms are negative 2t and a minus t. I suppose I could write another step. You don't really need to, but I can take this 8 and just change the order. Note that the sign before the 8 stays with the 8, and the sign before the t stays with the t. So now I have negative 2t minus t, which I can simplify. That is negative 3t. So if I'm already at negative 2 and I go down another one, I'm down at negative 3. So this will be negative 3t after I subtract the t. And then, of course, 8 minus 8 is 0, so this would be plus 0. Anytime I add 0, I could just get rid of that plus 0 because plus 0 just gives me the same thing. So I've gone from this kind of messy expression where I needed to use the distributive property. I used the distributive property. I combined my like terms by grouping these like terms together. And now I have something that I can solve just using the addition or multiplication or division or subtraction property. In this case, I'm going to use division. I've got negative 3 times t, so I need to use the inverse operation or division on both sides in order to solve it. And what I would do is I would just divide both sides by negative 3. If I divide this side by negative 3, the negative 3's are just going to cancel. If I divide this side by negative 3, I can pull the negative out to the front and have negative 5 over 3. Let's see, that should be an equals right there. So I just pull that negative out to the front and have negative 5 over 3. And over here, these negative 3's cancel. So I just have t. T is negative 5/3. So I go over here in my math lab and I need to write negative 5/3. I think you should probably leave the negative out front like that. You don't want it in the bottom or on top or anything like that. And then, let's see, I'm going to have to, I guess, press enter. It tells me I'm right, and I'm good to go on to the next problem. Okay, I hope I hope this helped clarify how you would go about working these types of problems. It'll probably take some practice to get a hang of this distributing the negative. Some people it just comes right away, some people it takes a little while. But I like to think if you're subtracting t plus 8, you're subtracting the t, and then you're also subtracting the 8. And that's how you end up with something like this instead of just minus t and then plus 8. You don't just drop the parentheses. And to me, that's the trickiest part of these types of problems. Okay, I hope this helps. Bye.